Are you in the market for a small, compact four-wheel scooter with lithium batteries? Well, stay tuned to this video review. Hey, I'm Alex with Marc's Mobility, and in this video review, we're going to go over the new Endurance AL Plus. Now, Pride Mobility has had an Endurance on the market for quite some time, but this is an updated version. They still have the original Endurance. This is the AL Plus. AL, I'm assuming, stands for aluminum because this is a lighter weight product with an aluminum frame. Also, if you would, go down below, hit the like and subscribe button, and if you're interested in this product, there will be a link below in the description where you can learn more and see all the prices currently, what this is on the market today. Now, the Endurance AL Plus did come out with 4 major changes from the original Endurance. This does have a 325-pound weight capacity. You are still going to be able to have 2 different lithium battery packs. One is going to be airline approved, the other is not. You're going to have an 8-amp lithium battery pack, which is approved for airline travel, and then you're going to have a 16-amp lithium battery pack, which is not approved for airline travel. Now, being at a 325-pound weight capacity, the distance on each battery pack is going to vary. They say if you're at a 200-pound weight capacity on the full-size battery pack, you're going to get up to 18 miles on a full charge. Now, why I say up to is because that's going to depend on how much you stop and go and what kind of terrain that you're on. They did scale that down some, and I said if you're at about 325 pounds, you're more at about that 13-mile range. That's with the full-size battery pack. With the travel airline approved battery pack, it's just half of that distance. So it's going to be up to 9 miles on a travel battery at a 200-pound weight capacity, and it's at about 6.5 miles if you're at the full 325 pounds with the travel battery pack. Now, a couple things they did change on this unit. The heaviest piece on this unit now is the front section, which is only going to be 35 pounds. On the older version, it was a little bit over 40 pounds, so they were able to shave down about 5 pounds on the weight of the unit. Another thing they did is they came out with easy turn technology on this unit. So now your wheels are able to turn almost sideways. So now you're able to get just a hair over 38-inch turning radius on this scooter, which is an amazing turning radius for a small scooter. Before, it was just over 48 inches, so they shaved off about 10 inches of a turning radius by being able to turn the wheels almost sideways. Now, one other thing that we noticed that we really like on this unit, if you've ever seen a ZT8 before, it was a discontinued product that had 2 motors in the back. This is a better version because I believe 1 motor in the back has less issues with scooters because you don't have 2 controllers trying to talk to each other. But the ZT8 did have lights like this in the front and lights in the back. Obviously, you're still going to have your headlight as well, but it's those little small lights that are built in the fenders in the front and the rear, which is going to kind of resemble some of that ZT8, which also turned really sharply as well. I'm going to go ahead and turn the lights off now. The next adjustment that they did is on the older Endurance. You used to have a twist knob over here on the side and had interlocking teeth to be able to adjust the tiller. Well, now they have the new technology over here where it's a lever, so if you're sitting in the unit, you can use your foot or you can bend over with your hand. All you do is push forward and it locks into place. So that's a lot easier, for example, when you're sitting in the scooter like this as compared to having to bend over. If you have the ability to lift your leg, you can do that. Otherwise, you can just bend over. You don't have to bend over as far, and it's a really easy adjustment as compared to trying to get the interlocking teeth to lock and it not to kind of slip a little bit. Other advancement they did that you're starting to see on some of their new products, the charger's still in here, but I pulled the end of the charging port out. This is a magnetic charge now as well. So all you have to do is kind of get it in place, and you see how it's lit up green. Now, still plug this into the wall. Just because you're plugged in here does not mean it's charging. It's not a portable battery pack, but this is just saying it made the connection. Still has to go into any 110 outlet. But that just lets you know, instead of having to line the 3 pins up, all you literally have to do is get it close and it snaps into place. So that's a great also enhancement that they made to the product. And then also the rear suspension on the unit is also enhanced a little bit as well. Now, this particular unit does come standard with this 17 by 17 inch mesh back. They do have a 20-inch seat option, but it's not a mesh back on the 20-inch option. It is more of like this type of material on the bottom for the bottom and the back of the unit. If you're not familiar with it on the original Endurance, then I'll go over some of this as well. Armrests flip up on both sides for easy access. The seat still does swivel all the way around. And once again, you are able to take it apart for easier types of transportation. Now the Endurance AL does have 2x8 front and rear tires. Only difference is they're a little bit wider in the front due to being able to have that easy turn technology. You're a little over 42 inches in length. It's a little over 20 inches in width, which is probably somewhere right here in the back, but I will tell you that is the wheelbase. Even with a 17-inch seat with your armrests on it, you are about 22.5 inches. So just know if you went to a 20-inch seat, you're going to have to add about 3 inches to that. So we'll say 25.5 inches outside of armrest to outside of armrest. I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to start breaking this scooter down and give you a couple bit more information. This scooter does have a 4.8 mile-an-hour top end speed. The other original Endurance, which is going to be a few $100s cheaper than this version, did go 4.2. So they did increase it almost half a mile an hour, or a little over half a mile an hour. So might not sound like a lot, but it does make a difference when you are the user driving in the scooter. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to break it down. What you're going to do first, you're going to push the seat down forward. The seat lifts off. You can set that to the side. Now we're going to go ahead and take our battery pack. That's going to lift off. Now this battery pack here is going to be the non-airline approved battery. It's the 16 amp. If you have the travel battery, you'll feel there's just a battery on one side, so it might be it's still lightweight, but it'll be a little bit heavier on one side than the other. That's because when you have the larger battery, it's basically just a battery on both sides. Now from here, you can take the front basket off, push this tab backwards and lift the basket out. And then from here, you're going to push your lever, lower your tiller down. Now you still have this locking device here in the front. If your tiller is straight, you can rotate that to the right and it locks your wheel so that you're not wobbly all over the place and it's not slapping around in your vehicle. From there, you have your front and your rear section. Now what a lot of people like to know is what is the length of that piece, because a lot of times they're going to load that into the vehicle and they want to know what the pieces and dimensions are to see if that fits. This is a little bit longer than some because this has the shroud that goes over here in the back. Some scooters is cut off right here and that rear shroud is over on the back section. But what you're going to be in overall length of this scooter from the front to the back is 37 inches. So that's 37 inches by that 20 inches in width. Your rear section is going to be obviously 20 inches by about 11 inches. So that's going to kind of give you a reference of when you're trying to load this in your vehicle, what kind of pieces. Obviously your seat can go on the floorboard, your battery pack can go back on there, but these are going to be your main primary pieces that people ask us about. What is the size of those? So when I'm loading it in my vehicle, I know if it will fit. So now from here, all you're going to do is just bring this back upright, and then you're going to bring your rear section and put it onto the back. You have little green lines that line up with the rear tubing. Do not force this into place. This should just go in as naturally and as easy as that did. If you have to force it, most likely you're not lined up straight. Realign it and it should just drop right into place. Now from here, we're going to raise our tiller back up. One thing I always mention to everybody is make sure you unlock that front wheel, because otherwise you're going to wonder why it takes you half a mile to turn in a circle, because your wheel is locked. Now we'll take our battery pack. That just drops right back into place. And then your seat, right back on the seat post. And then front basket is just going to drop right back on. The headlight I showed you earlier is adjustable up and down. It's not the biggest and greatest headlight out there on the market, but it is going to at least illuminate your path a little bit and be visible while you're driving this at night. So what they don't mention a lot of times that I like to kind of reference as well is going to be your floorboard space. So you have about 17 inches of floorboard space, but because there's not a slider seat on here, I like to see what's the actual usable space. So if you imagine when you're sitting in the scooter, you can see how my knees are not really, they're kind of bent at a 90-degree angle, slightly backwards a little bit. Now you can prop your feet up here, but I would say I wear a size 12 shoe, so you can see my leg angle and what size we have. So the usable space, I would say, is more about 13 inches of how you would kind of position your foot. But once again, you can kick your feet up a little bit higher. They do mention it has a 1.39 inch ground clearance as well at the motor. Don't let that scare you unless you're trying to take this off-roading, which this is not intended to do. because basically that's in line with your rear wheels. So when you're going over speed bumps or thresholds in your home, things like that, you're going to stay that same distance as your wheels drive over that whatever desired bump that you're going over. Now the unit does also come with a 2-year warranty on the electronics, the drivetrain, and the battery. So I just want to let you know, people ask that a lot of times too. What is that? It is 2 years on basically everything on the unit. That does not cover wear and tear, so if you damage something, that is not covered. But yeah, electronics, the motor, and the batteries are a 2-year warranty. Now, seat to ground height, people like to know this spec as well. When they rotate the seat, there are different height adjustments. It can go anywhere from 21.83, I think is what it is, up to about 23.5 inches, because the seat post does have different pins that you can adjust the height. So just know what that is. If you were to then rotate the seat and you want to get out, you know, 21.5 or 21.8 is going to be the lowest seat to ground height. Just that gives you a reference for somebody that wants to turn to the side. Sometimes it's easier to rotate the seat, push off the arms, and get in and out of the chair. So you do have a little under 2 inches of adjustment on the seat post. But I really do like this scooter. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this outside and do a little driving demonstration on this. So go ahead and please follow me out there. This is the Endurance AL Plus. We talked about earlier, turning radius, 38 inches. Look at how small this turning radius is for this size of a scooter. I mean, it's a 42.5-inch long scooter and you have a 38-inch turning radius. With that 325-pound weight capacity and 4.8 miles an hour, it's a really nice unit. One other thing that I'm pretty sure they did on this unit as well is they increased the motor wattage also from a 180 watts on the original Endurance to a 300 watt on this unit here. So the suspension is nice on the unit. The floorboard space is big enough. It does slow you down from that 4.8 miles an hour when you go to make that turn. So once it goes in here, it does reduce your speed. I'm sure that's a safety feature that they have on the unit. But outside of that too, once again, very easy to adjust this tiller while you're sitting in the unit. It does feel very stable. I'm 6 foot, 220 pounds. This is the 17-inch mesh back. Do remember, if you go with the larger seat, the back is no longer mesh. It's more of this foam style back. So it might add a pound or two to the overall weight of the seat. I'm gonna go over here in the grass just to kind of see with a little bit more power. I might even try it over here. Don't know, it's not really intended for that, but just for my own purposes, I want to see what it can do and how it can track. But I'm going to try over here first just to kind of get a reference on that power wise. Yeah, I mean, if you were to go soccer fields, baseball fields, I mean, once again, it reduces the speed and the power when you're turning. So if you're going at a complete stop or trying to do that easy turn like that on grass, it is going to slow you down. But going straight forward or making a wider turn, it doesn't reduce the speed, and then it has plenty of power. So I'm gonna go over here behind the fence and just see if it can kind of handle this. It's a little bit soggy of ground because it did rain a little bit here in Florida over the weekend. But once again, I'm gonna drive through here and just kind of see what it can do. I mean, pretty impressive for a small scooter. Once again, it's not an all-terrain type scooter by any stretch, but it is going to have a little bit more power. So when you're a little bit nervous of going on those soccer fields, baseball fields, seeing your grandkids play, let's say farmers market or flea markets, things like that, as long as it's compact ground, I think it's got plenty of power. So once again, I'm pretty impressed with the Endurance AL Plus. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call. We'd love to speak with you.
Hi, I'm Mark.
And my name is Alex. We're co-owners of Marc's Mobility.
I started this company in 1995.
We sell many products, not just what you see in this video. If you have any questions or concerns, please call us at the number below at 800-677-6293. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.